How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to another episode of NAISB. My name is Reagan Harold. That is Carly Fitzer. We have got a phenomenal episode for y'all today. We're gonna have a little midweek recap. Of course, we'll start off with the Oregon Tech Southern Oregon showdown yesterday. Then Carly, a great interview with the newest member of the 1,000 Strikeout Club and the fantastic Coach Cat Ihlenburg, and of course, the newest member of that 1,000 Strikeout Club. Annalise Jarvis. Then we'll give you a little weekend preview and Marsh'S matchup, which will be heading up to the Hoosier State for Indiana Wesleyan taking on Marian. Now, we know we always have a good time on this podcast, and whew, all right, sorry about that. But yeah, as I was saying, we always have a good time on this podcast. We're gonna have a great time. It's a great episode. Didn't mean to get a little emotional there. Apologies for that. But um, I want everybody listening to just do me a favor, do something for me real quick. Pause the episode, come back to it here in a minute. Reach out to somebody, teammate, coach, loved one, you haven't talked to in a minute, and just check in on them, you know. And yeah, no, just do that, and yeah, we'll leave it at that. Moving forward. But Carly, we are recording pretty bright and early this morning. It's got to be the earliest we've
Sure
ever
are.
recorded. Yeah, probably the earliest we've ever recorded an episode here Thursday morning. We're gonna have it fresh off for you to talk about some great softball. So Carly, let's get
Yeah.
into it. Oregon Tech, Southern Oregon lived up to expectations and then some.
Yeah. 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 Um, I don't know if I expected a split or maybe a sweep on Southern Oregon side, but yeah, like you said, everything we lived up to. Game two or game one, 2-1, Southern Oregon would take it. They struck first in the bottom of the third off an Owls error. Oregon Tech would score one in the top of the fifth, but then Sarah Curling would single up the middle, and that run would wind up being the difference. Curling would finish the game 1 for 2 with that RBI. Kennedy Keela was a perfect 2 for 2 at the plate. And then freshman phenom Ayla Davies moves to 16-1 on the year. She goes the complete game, giving up 5 hits and striking out 5 in her debut versus Oregon Tech. And then game two is a little bit different. Owls flip the script. They take it 7-2. They grabbed a 4-0 lead in the third. They would tack on one more in the sixth and two in the seventh. And this game was a lot different than game one. There was a lot more hits on each side, but Owls would out hit Southern Oregon 15-9. Addison Katchnick was 2 for 3 with a double and a team high of 4 RBIs. Buckia Milburn, a perfect 4 for 4 with 3 runs and an RBI. Zoe Allen, 3 for 4, a run and RBI. And then Carly Moore in the circle would go 4 innings with 5 hits, 1 earned run, and then 1 walk and 1 strikeout apiece. Casey Schmidt would get the save. She went 3 innings. She gave up 1 earned run on 4 hits, and she struck out one in Oregon Tech's split with Southern Oregon.
Yeah, looking at that first game, Carly, I got to watch pretty much all of that one. I didn't get to watch game two, unfortunately, but I did get to watch game one yesterday, and just the it was just boom, 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 boom. I was like, this game's going to be over in like 75 minutes. Schmidt and
Whew.
Davies were absolutely dealing. Then just a funky spinner back to the mound after Casey Schmidt made a phenomenal play in the circle to keep the run there 60 feet away. Just a little spinner. Yeah, she kicks it a little bit, but credit to her veteran pitchers able to keep Oregon Tech in it. But then Ayla Davies, this kid's not a freshman
Yeah.
anymore. Like she's in the fifth inning, playing the biggest rival, number two team. Hello, Lulu, playing the number two team in NAIA softball, and bases loaded. Is able to get out of it, limiting it to one run. Fielder's choice, kind of funky there, and then Sarah Curling. Again, we kind of we got real hype for the bottom of the lineup in the last episode. Again, Sarah Curling does
hmm
a great job. And yeah, and game two, credit Oregon Tech. They come after it. They put seven on the board, and that's what we talked a little bit about could happen. Game one, didn't we may have expected maybe a little bit more from Southern Oregon with how much they've seen Schmidt, maybe discredited Casey
Yeah.
Schmidt. I mean, geez, like you can see me for 10 innings and you get two earned runs against me, maybe. So credit to Schmidt there, and then I think it's still that question for Southern Oregon that people keep asking is who can step up after Davies to hold teams to 2 or 3 runs. But we all know when it gets tournament time that Davies is a pitcher that can go 30 innings in a week. We saw it in Oklahoma, where she threw 30 innings in a weekend. So you give her a little bit extra rest there, not only playing one game a day in a opening round or World Series setting. I still think Southern Oregon is the team to beat in NAIA softball. They got another doubleheader coming up that will see, and they obviously the Raiders still have dates with College of Idaho and Eastern Oregon, so there's plenty of more tests there. But moving on, just getting back on a little bit, just schedule for Tuesday, Wednesday. We were obviously, even though those 2 games were on Wednesday, we were going to start with that one. But let's talk about these games. Tuesday, we had another split on the complete opposite corner of the country with William Carey and Faulkner. The Crusaders would dominate game one, 8-1. It would be the Eagles striking first in the bottom of the first. Then William Carey would immediately respond back, just a good old heavyweight, boom, boom, boom. But then after that, it would be all William Carey. They out hit Faulkner 13-1 from there on. Layla Clark goes 1 for 3, pair of runs, double, and a pair of RBIs. Abilene Fussell goes 2 for 4 with a pair of RBIs. Marian Neiman, who has stepped up in the circle, and her and Hornsby have created a phenomenal 1-2 punch. And Neiman goes the distance, only gives up 1 hit, 1 walk, striking out 3. Then in game two, it would be Hannah O'Brien in the circle for Faulkner going the distance with an 11 strikeout shutout, only giving up 3 hits and 1 walk. Faulkner would out hit William Carey 8-3. They scored those 2 runs in the first inning, and like I said, that would be all that Haley O'Brien would need. It was a big day for Abby Terrell, going 3 for 3 with the RBI. Madeline Becker 2 for 3 with a run score, and then Kinsley Wesley with a RBI. So just a good split there. But we head over to the KCAC, where after Evangel got swept by Ottawa, Carly, they got 2 big ones against the Falcons.
They do, yeah. They bounce back and they sweep Friends. Game one was 3-0. They were scoreless until Evangel would score two in the top of the fifth, and then they would tack on an insurance run in the sixth, and that would be all Evangel would need. Ellie Facklum had a great series. You'll hear about her in game two, but 2 for 3 in this one with a run and an RBI. Kind of Mayfield with an RBI and a run, and then Maddie Myrer in the circle, 7 innings, 2 hits, just 2 walks and 7 strikeouts. And then game two, a lot more offense coming from both sides, but Evangel would walk away on top 10-7. Friends would tie it at 4 in the bottom of the third and continue to score the next 3 innings. But Evangel would hold that lead. They scored 3 in the fourth and 3 in the sixth, and that would be the difference. This game saw 7 different pitcher. We saw 4 from Evangel and 3 for Friends. So a lot of time spent on pitchers' warm-ups and all that jazz, but um, Ellie Facklum was 4 for 5 with 2 runs, a double, and 3 RBIs. Carly Means had a 2 run home run. Riley Johannes with 2 RBIs. And then Bodie Smith would wind up with the win in the circle for Evangel. She goes 1 2/3. She gave up just 2 hits, 1 earned run, and a strikeout. And then Maddie Meyer gets credited with the save, going an inning and a third with a strikeout and 0 hits.
Yeah, good stuff there. Now heading back over to the southeastern part of the United States, talk about a little Sun Conference with Southeastern taking 2-3 from Kaiser. Good pitchers duel in game one. Southeastern would take an early lead, 2-0, before Kaiser would put one up in the bottom of the fifth inning. Southeastern would allow Maria Zelenka to have a little bit more breathing room in the bottom of the seventh, putting one more up. Those RBIs coming from Leah Gonzalez, Riley McKinney, and Allie Haas. As for Zelenka, she goes the distance. The one earned was not an earned run. She strikes out 2, allows 5 hits. And we've talked about the Southeastern defense. You don't need a strikeout heavy pitcher when you have that kind of
Yep.
infield and a very solid outfield. However, the bats would come to life for Southeastern in game two, that they take 10-2 to guarantee the series win. Uh, and it was just a massive, just a great display of hitting throughout. They score in every inning except for the fourth, a huge sixth inning where they put up a five spot. Riley McKinney, who is starting to put her name in some All-American conversation, goes 3 for 5, scores a run, doubles, and a pair of RBIs. Leah Gonzalez, Lauren Seconder, and Cassidy Moore, the transfer from Mercer, each put up two RBIs with multiple base hits. And in the circle, Eden Playa usually does not need 10 runs. Obviously, did not need it here, but always helps. She goes the distance, allows zero earned runs. She walks four, does not strike out any, but like I said, solid defense behind her. Kaiser, Carly, Kaiser just they keep picking up these wins. It's now another top 20 win in conference play for Kaiser. They get 6-5 over Southeastern. And I think it's going to start getting pretty realistic to start thinking about the Sun Conference being a four-team league. And when we get opening round plays, things start to shake out. Southeastern would strike first, scoring three in the third. And for Kaiser, you just lost the series. You're down 3-0, and then bang, they respond with four of their own in the fourth inning. And then they would both trade runs in the fifth and seventh, and Kaiser holds on to 6-5 win. Kelsey Gansey, who we talked about a couple episodes ago, Carly being just a phenomenal defensive catcher. She
Hmm.
has a good day at the plate, going 2 for 2 with a double and a RBI. Faith Campos goes 2 for 4, scores a run and doubles. Lizzie Small in the circle goes the distance, allows 7 hits, gives up 3 earned runs, a walk, and 3 strikeouts.
Yeah, and then moving over to another conference that is starting to, um, I guess, be really unknown in top dog, or it's looking like that top 4 or 5 are going to be neck and neck. But Oakwu would sweep Ottawa yesterday or Tuesday in their doubleheader. Game one, they would take it 5-1. They were knotted at one in the top of the eighth. Um, and then they would drop 4 runs, and that would be it. But Olivas had 2 RBIs. Reagan Rector was 2 for 4 with an RBI. And then Sage Level going 2 1/3 with 1 hit and 3 strikeouts, earning the win for her in the circle. And then game two, a lot closer, 6-5, highlighted by a big 4-run third inning for Oklahoma Wesleyan. Jessica Watson would go 2 for 4 with a run, a double, and 2 RBIs. Carly Billings, a perfect 3 for 3 in the game with 2 runs and an RBI. And then Sage Level again going 6 innings, giving up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, and then walking 4 and striking out 4 in her performance.
Heading over to your former conference, Carly, the GPAC, where
Hmm.
Northwestern picked up two big ones. Before I do want to say I completely agree with you on the KCAC. We talked about in our conference standings. I does look like Oklahoma Wesleyan starting to maybe
They're
put
kind
the
of pulling ahead.
yeah, I think they're looking there, and we've been high on Friends, been very high on Evangel, but I mean Oklahoma
Hmm.
Wesleyan's still sitting there. They're at the top of the conference, looking extremely strong, but I do think that tournament is still going to be absolute
Mayhem.
mayhem. Yep. But heading over to the GPAC, Northwestern picks up two big ones against Morningside. They take game one, 4-1. They put up a three spot in the second, and Kate Corralick, that would be all that she needed. She goes the distance, no walks, 5 strikeouts. Sydney Jacobs goes 2 for 4 with an RBI. Charlie Baumgars goes 2 for 3 with an RBI. And then game two, both bats come to bat a little bit more. The Mustangs are plagued by 3 errors. Gwen Mickelson has an absolute day at the plate, 2 for 3, double, home run, or a couple of runs and an RBI. Maddie Vatek goes 3 for 4, two doubles, 4 RBIs, and it's Abby Flanagan in the circle getting the win. 4 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts.
Yeah, and then Reinhardt and Tennessee Wesleyan would split yesterday as well. Game one was 3-2. Reinhardt would walk away with the win. They jumped on them early. They scored 2 in the first, added another one later on in the game, and that's all they needed. Taylor Wade was 2 for 2 with 2 runs. Ansley had 2 for 3 with a double and an RBI. And then Ansley Pettit would go the complete distance. She gave up 7 hits, 2 earned runs, and striking out two. And then game two, kind of been the theme of this episode, a lot more offensive production. It would wind up being 8-7 with Tennessee Wesleyan walking away with the win, but they weren't in the lead the whole time. They were actually down 7-4 heading into the seventh. They would drop a four-piece. And walk it off. Mackenzie Baldwin was 2 for 4 with 3 runs scored and 2 RBIs. Tatum Massengale was 2 for 4. She had a double and 3 RBIs. And then Isabel Jenkins in the circle. Talk about battling in that game. I mean, giving up 7 runs. She had or 5 earned runs, but she had 14 hits on her and then just 1 walk and 1 strikeout.
Yeah, impressive there just to keep your team in it. And obviously 14 hits is a lot, but you're able to limit it, and your bats are able to pick you up. Well, a lot of offensive production, like you said, in that one in game two. Let's get ready to talk to someone who doesn't allow a whole lot of offensive production with Annalise Jarvis and Coach Kat Ihlenburg. But before we get to that interview, we're going to tell you about our newest sponsor, Magna. Magna is a just phenomenal new supplement. Carly, they are the world's first triple magnesium electrolyte powder. Magna combines 3 forms of magnesium with electrolytes to unlock greater focus, energy, and recovery. Did you know 75% of us are deficient in magnesium? But magnesium is one of the most important minerals in our body. Without enough, we can experience poor sleep, brain fog, bloating, cramping, and stress. Magna does more than other electrolyte powders out there with it containing 3 types of magnesium. Magnesium 1 threonate for focus, magnesium malate for natural energy, and magnesium glycinate for recovery, plus electrolytes for maximum hydration. Magna is science backed, trusted by leading doctors and professional athletes. It contains zero sugar, is gluten free, caffeine free, and NSF certified. Magna is the best tasting electrolyte on the market, coming in 5 delicious flavors: watermelon lime, lemon lime, iced tea lemonade, apple juice, and mint lemonade. And for our listeners, you can go to drinkmagna.com, get your order, and put in code NAIASB 15 for 15% off. And support the podcast a little bit. It's a
Yeah,
wonderful,
yeah.
it's a wonderful supplement. I've heard great things about it. We should both be getting our sample pack soon.
I'm pumped to try it.
So excited. Carly, what flavor did you end up getting?
I went with the mint lemonade.
Fire.
Hmm.
I got a couple different ones to try. We will have those by Monday morning's episode. But yes, again, that is drinkmagna.com. Put in your order and you get to the cart, put in code NAIASB 15 for 15% off. And now, Coach Kat Eilenberg and Annalise Jarvis from the Georgia Gwinnett Grizzlies. Okay, we now welcome on 2 very special guests from up in Lawrenceville, Georgia, Georgia Gwinnett Grizzlies head coach Kat Eilenberg and their starting pitcher Annalise Jarvis. Coach, how's everything going up in the beautiful Peach State?
You nailed it. It's beautiful. Sunny and 70, high skies. We are in our favorite part of the season right now. Warm enough to want to be outside and cool enough in the mornings that you're happy that you practice and play in the afternoons.
Absolutely, right there in North Georgia, in between Atlanta and Athens. Awesome city. Of course, what we want to start this interview talking about, Annalise, this past weekend, you became the 7th player in NAIA softball history to achieve 1,000 career strikeouts. Just talk to us about what that achievement means to you.
It just means that every decision I made from the age of 9 to 18 was worth it. And you make so many decisions, and there's so many points in your journey of being a good softball player. And, you're not a great pitcher at 9 years old. You really go through it again at like 14, 15, where you're like, is this really what I want to do? And you have to make that decision. Is this what I really want to do? And there's so many sacrifices that comes along with that. So just every decision to not take any summer vacations and only play travel ball, to I was homeschooled, so I was able to practice more like during the day. So being able to sacrifice like that time, You don't get to go hang out with your friends as much because there's always softball. It just, moments like that truly can't top the feeling of every decision I've ever made for this sport has been worth it. It's awesome.
It was absolutely incredible. I remember first time or one of the first conversations I had with a coach. It was about NAI softball, as we were talking about before, just getting started with you transferring. Your name got brought up, and then a couple months later, getting to see you throw a 17 strikeout no hitter against my against my Warriors. I was like, this player may do some pretty cool things, and you've done it again this past weekend. Coach, what does it mean for you to have someone that's repped the Grizzly uniform now be in that elite category of NAI pitchers?
Yeah, it's just a tremendous, I'll tell her, and she knows this, it's an honor to have an athlete like that. I'm a very competitive person. I don't put any bones about it. I race my children to the car. I make sure I'm just certain ways. I'm very competitive, but I'm self-competitive. So to be able to coach an athlete who is self-driven, I think it's elevated our program's mindset, but it's also been amazing to watch her own personal growth. I mean, I could really take the whole time to talk about that. She came in with very specific goals and very determined to accomplish that. So kudos to her for doing it. But I think she allowed herself to grow as just an incredible teammate through that journey as well.
And Coach, your squad has made it to the World Series the past few seasons. How have those experiences impacted this year's group?
Well, it becomes less of a goal and more of an expectation and a standard. And so I think if you're on a squad that consistently brings in athletes who are competitive and who understand what it means to compete for national championships season in and season out. I'm lucky to call certain people like Jess Pistol a friend and Jaden Wallace a friend. I will call them and say, what's going on in your programs? Bailey Dillander at Cumberland. I mean, we talk about how we elevate our athletes. So to go to the World Series is a culmination of the things that we put forward in our program as priorities, and it means that the process is good. Having a player like Annalise makes that journey seem easy. She will be the first to tell you it's not. Ask her about practice today. It was not a simple show up, throw a few balls around, and get done practice. We were preparing for what we hope to be a long May, and it's March 25th.
Well, we get
So, Annalise, how was practice today?
Oh gosh. We throw live today, which happens. I would rather take the best team in the country than take my own team. Throwing live against my own team is like the hardest thing I think in the world, genuinely. Not they know me, I know them. It becomes an overthinking mess. And add to the fact that we were running laps around the baseball field, which you've ever been to our complex, it's all on a hill. So it's about a half a mile straight up. It's not a fun experience, but endurance is up and so it matters.
So you've put together an incredible resume that certainly could have been used at some point to do what a lot of other student athletes are doing right now, and have done in the past few years. They transfer to a higher level, they secure NIL money. When you transferred from Bryan, why did you decide to stay in the NAIA, and what has kept you in this league?
Yeah, great question. I love answering this question because I do love the NAI and I'm proud to represent in the NAI and play here. And the best way I can put it is I am such a big fan of softball. Like, removed from the fact that I'm a player, I genuinely love the sport of softball. And if I have a bad game, I don't connect that to I hate softball. And I love to watch it and I love being fans of high levels of softball. So when you think about the opportunity of going D1, that division, your option to winning the last game of the season is to beat Oklahoma. I mean, that's the team that's to beat right now, to beat Texas. And I mean, let's be real, Carlin Pickens in Tennessee threw a 78-mile-an-hour pitch yesterday. And my best day with the wind blowing in, I'm going to give you 63. So I'm aware that there's a level there that if I was to go D1, there's almost a 0% chance that I win that last game. And going back to my freshman year, I played opening round Bryan College at William Carey, and we beat William Carey. And in 10 innings, a 1-0 win, it was the feeling that I genuinely can't describe that feeling, and no other game since that day has topped that win feeling. Because it was almost like, holy crap, I'm a freshman. I have a team, I'm on a team that in years past, in their best years, have been 5, 6 in their conference, and we're about to go to the World Series. Like, we just beat the number one team in this opening round. We're about to go to the World Series. And just that feeling, I can't shake it. And then next day having a really tough loss to Weber, still remember that one. But it was the combination of the frustration from that loss mixed with the combination of how awesome that win was. I knew from that moment that until someone pulls me off the field and tells me I can't play anymore, that I will chase that red banner, because I know, like, I wanted it that bad in that moment. And so it became less of a what division to go to. And in that moment, it became more of a what team gives me the best chance to win the last game.
Annalise, to elaborate a little bit more on Carly's great question there, what would your message be to high school athletes who are unsure about the NAIA? Because me, I went to a D2 out of high school, and I had no idea what the NAIA was. I was fairly close to like Reinhardt, Middle Georgia State, really close to Thomas, not too far from Coastal Georgia, but was not sure at all about what the NAIA was out of high school. It wasn't until I entered the transfer portal and started learning about teams like Reinhardt, Southeastern, obviously Weber International, that I found the NAIA and the history that's happened since then. So again, just what would your message be to a high school athlete who's just not sure about the NAIA right now?
Yeah, the best way I can put it is that you mean something here. In the NAIA, you mean something. And I am a business major, so I think things a little bit businessy. And it's not a secret that all college athletics, at any sport, at any level, it's business. And I mean, think about SEC football, like, that's a business. And when you add in NIL into things, it becomes more business, less softball, but that's another topic. But like, it's generally just a business. Coach Cat is the boss, and we're the employees of this business. And the way people perceive you, the way people love you in the NAIA has nothing to do with the value that you bring to the company. And I know that my team is so thankful for what I do for my team, that I'm able to get us out of tough situations. And I know how thankful that Coach Kat is. She tells me all the time how thankful she is and she's proud of me. And of course, they love when I go out on the field and there's an 80% chance I put up zeros. But that's not why she loves me. And that's not why my team loves me. And we did a student athlete mental health event a couple of days ago with all the student athletes at GGC. And they taped a paper to our back and told our teammates, it was talking about affirmations, to write on your teammates' back, I appreciate you because blank. And so I had 22 things written on my back, and I flipped that paper around, and not a single one of them had to do with softball. It's just because I'm sure I bring value to our company, and I love doing that. But that's not who I am. And so you mean something here in the NAIA, and those are relationships that I've built, that I love the value that I bring to us, but that's not why they love me. And so that's I love the NAIA, and I love what we represent and how we see athletes above, like, their person above their athlete.
It's incredible. Great message there, Annalise. And you mentioned that you're more than just a business person. You're more than just an employee. And it's something I saw Nick Rule, the commissioner of the Heart of America. He's doing something really cool this month where he's like 32 days, 32 reasons why NAI. He's been putting that out on Twitter and Instagram. I think it's been really cool. And that was something he talked a little bit about. But Coach Cat, speaking of stuff that's pretty cool, we got to talk about who's about to be some of the newest student athletes there at Georgia Gwinnett College. GGC recently constructed a brand new $45 million, 72,000 square foot a convention center where, like I said, the newest NAI basketball teams will be playing under the lead of two former NAI coaches from Florida College, leading the men's program, Chase Teachman, and Point University's Tori Woolley. Could talk to us about what the impact of those two new teams and the new center there in Lawrenceville is going to mean to the Georgia Gwinnett community.
Yeah, absolutely. I do believe it's just going to be another reason that people love to hate the Grizzlies. I think they've hired two home runs, slam dunks, if you want to be really funny. Chase brings experience from being very competitive already in the Continental Athletic Conference at Florida. Gosh, I always mess it up, but
Florida
Florida
College.
College. And he understood how to build his program. He had a very sound recruiting process and he worked in administration there. So to Annalise's funny point, he brings that love of the game, but also that business side of let's bring somebody in what wants to compete. And with Tori, you have the same mindset, a program that really Point wasn't known for their great athletics, but he built and he built and he recruited and he recruited. So when you match that with the other head coaches in our athletic department, those gentlemen have simply just elevated our process. But I also think the arena is that flagship moment that our president wanted for the college. Graduations will never be the same. You'll walk your last steps on campus as a student will be through those doors. Our student athletes will obviously hold it to be in a much different regard because Annalise will never deal with it, but we'll run on that basketball court. We'll work out in that gym. We'll have meetings in the overlook room that it's hard to describe right now other than imagine sitting on the hillside above our softball field and having a beautiful bird's eye view. That's what that building does for my field. You can see every pitch from a certain angle. If you're doing cardio, it just elevates the access of the community to our athletic department in one building. And so I do believe it's going to just continue to help us build that strong brand in Northeast Georgia. I mean, we're definitely a college that people know these days, so it's exciting.
Yeah, I got the opportunity when I was there to cover the opening round 2 years ago, and I see it's just a massive construction going on. I remember looking at Matt Mahoney, which just real quick shout out to the Grizzly Digital Network, the best production in the NAIA, just phenomenal free stream on YouTube, just incredible stuff that he and Dale Long have built there with y'all's sports information. But I was like, dude, what's that? And he's like, Reagan, that's going to be the big B word here at Georgia Gwinnett. And I was a little confused, but obviously explain that to be basketball and just ready for y'all to get football there at Georgia Gwinnett. So I got another team in Northeast Georgia, not rooting for that. Okay,
No, too many
that's
other
fine.
people.
No.
There are plenty of college football teams in the area. I mean, you got the best one, 45 minutes east. Go Dogs. Sorry,
Listen, you
Annalise.
got somebody bleeding orange there. Be
Thumbs
careful.
down. Big thumbs down for that. Go Vols.
Hey, I'm dealing with it. You're in on softball. I got you beat on the football side. What I'm really excited for is when those two play baseball this year. That is going to be incredible. Number one and number two and D1 home runs. There's going to be some fireworks in that one. But I know Carl, let you add, but no, there's a coach on your staff who's certainly going to be rooting for the Dogs.
Mm.
She will. Yeah.
She will. Yeah, she will be.
Yeah.
Annalise, so Coach Ashley Razy, is it Razy?
Yes.
Okay. She joined you in Lawrenceville in 2023 as the pitching coach. How has she impacted your career? And are there any other coaches that you'd like to credit some of your success to?
Raisy's great. And from a coaching perspective, and I'll say this with the most confidence, she's the best pitch caller that I have ever had. She genuinely knows what's up, and she makes me always feel prepared for a game. And there's not always moments as a student athlete or balancing so many things to be able to go watch a 2 hour game if the team are about to play. There's not a whole lot of time for that, but that's what Razy does. And she's just good at that. She knows what pitches to call. And so I'm so appreciative of her, but also her side of like just her personality is so team oriented. And sometimes can get caught up in so many numbers and this is coming up and this is this and things like that and strikeout numbers. And she is so level headed. It keeps me level headed. And Coach Cat is the same way. This coaching staff in general with Coach I, they just keep a good head on your shoulders. And so I can't credit, anyone else other than these three coaches have done such an amazing job at genuinely making sure that we feel prepared and then that we execute it. And I will say this almost any day. I think that Raisy's job of calling pitches might be harder than my job of executing them. I think that she has a harder job than I do.
Yeah, I think if I no qualification, obviously, but I think if I had the opportunity to call pitches for Annalise, it would just be rise ball, rise ball, rise ball, rise ball. Just spam
Well,
it.
that's not a secret, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's similar.
Well, Coach Cat, staying on the topic of your staff, your father-in-law John has been on staff with you since the very beginning there in Lawrenceville in 2013. Can you talk to us about the role he has played at Georgia Gwinnett, other than him keeping it being the best all-natural field in NAIA softball?
Yeah, John is nothing short of meticulous. He definitely has the attention to detail that in everyday life you wish you always had, and then you find somebody that has it, and you're like, huh, how so it can't exist. But his attention to detail is exceptional. And I would tell you, because of that, his background certainly in aviation, you can't miss the mark in aviation. So it's a byproduct of what he's always done. But he'll tell you first and foremost, he was a baseball guy, obviously married his son. He has another son who holds very, very deep records at Reinhardt University. He's on their athletic wall, Hall of Fame. So he is a well-decorated athlete himself. And when he transitioned to softball, I would tell you his first season, it was kind of get to know what it's like. And I remember, like any other family, you get together for a holiday, probably Easter at the end of the first season together. And he says, the thing about these girls is they don't seem to complain when I ask them to do this stuff. And ask enough male coaches in our business that the women that get to play softball and have that privilege to wear the college uniform in general understand it's the biggest opportunity. This is it. There's not much to go for after this. There's some, but not to the extent of what you might think in other male sports professionally. So with that in mind, John's process to us has been he's just fallen in love with how much work the girls want to put in. And one of our favorite sayings is we love when practice shows up in a game because that is a badge of honor to us as coaches that we prepared you for that moment. And Annalise can probably give the fist pump that Coach I does, but like he holds a clipboard and he charts everything so we kind of know where we need our defense to shift here and there. And something good will happen and he'll go, yeah, all right. And it'll just walk back in the dugout. That's what you're going to get. Like, that's it. Like a fist pump and a, yeah, all right. And it's only when there's the good plays, not the routine plays. Routine is expected, but we had a 6-4-3 double play the other day and he jumped up just a little bit. It was pretty cool for him. So he just brought that competitiveness. His knowledge base is triple that of mine and Raisy's combined. So I talk about it all the time. You can't buy experience. So back to Carly's question about the World Series, I could pay $1 million to do something, but that would be paying for the experience. You have to have the experience to learn. And John carries that. John carries a lot of experience that he just pours endlessly into our athletes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but he spent time with the Royals organization.
Correct.
Okay, so he has played at the highest level of baseball. Coach, I just want to circle back to something you mentioned there that college softball is, isn't it? There's starting to be some opportunities. The AUSL is the ones now trying to start the league with the 4 teams. They're traveling around to multiple locations this summer. Coach, do you see a path for there being a professional women's league that does take off? I know the popular answer when I don't believe I've had this conversation with the coach recording, but when I've talked to it, it seems that there needs to be the backing of Major League Baseball, kind of like the NBA's done with WNBA. Do you see a path in the I don't know, next 5, 10, who knows, years for that to become a reality where there is a next step after college softball for these student athletes?
I don't want to be Debbie Downer in my answer, but I have been coaching for 20 years. And so I would have said yes, full throttle in 2004, right out of college, hot off the Athens Olympics. We've won gold. It's amazing. We're still where we were in 2004. Truly. I grew up in Nashville just like Annalise did. I actually took pitching lessons I caught pitchers who took pitching lessons from Sherry Kemp. So if you do your homework to who runs some of these leagues, Sherry Kemp is a name that you'll know really well once you do your research. I'm not saying you haven't, but just find out who she is and it'll go, oh, that's interesting. Shows my age. But Sherry has been at the forefront year and year and year out of trying to get leagues organized. And it comes down to the almighty dollar. The fans are there. They want to see it. But organizations need operational budgets, and those operational budgets just haven't been consistent. So, my Debbie Downer answer is I think we're still another full generation of student athletes away. And you have women like Kelsey Stewart comes to mind. She was a player at the University of Florida and she had a son and she was playing in the pro league. And there's a beautiful post of her nursing her baby in the dugout. So until there's really accommodations for women who are mothers, who have a responsibility to their children, I think you're going to see there's a certain shelf life to that. You look at an example of Freddie Freeman, for just lack of an example, his wife was able to have a surrogate and a child and have Charlie. We all, as a Braves fan, I like the Freeman family, but Chelsea was able to do that. Her son got massively sick last season. Freddie took time off, but then he was back at work and winning a World Series. You're not going to hear as quickly because of what mothers' roles typically are. I don't think you're going to hear that story professionally. And I am a sports fan like Annalise. I know sports. I love sports. That's why I know the Kelsey Stewart story. I think it is an incredible honor to have women like that in dugouts professionally. I think it's amazing, but it's rare. So because it's rare and still not completely culturally accepted, I think we're still a ways away.
It's a great conversation that maybe in the next crazy season and everything, but certainly something I would like to talk more about because I don't know if we'll ever have that kind of impact or
Yeah.
anything like that. But I mean, Carly and I could or our whole motto is grow the game. That's
Yeah.
been consistent since day one. That is NAIA softball specific, of course, but we want the whole game to grow. But again, that is a conversation I would like to have for another day. But Carly, no, you're gonna wrap this thing up with our favorite question to ask always.
Yep, yep. Either one of you can answer it first, but you're on a road trip, stop at a gas station. What's your go-to beverage and snack?
I am a white cheddar popcorn kind of person. But if we're on a road trip, I never bring my debit card because I will lose it. So I end up having a teammate buy me white cheddar popcorn. I don't bring my debit. They never mind. They never mind. They're so sweet.
What about a drink?
Um, Drink. So I'm a loaded tea kind of girl. I have an NIL deal with a loaded tea place locally here in Lawrenceville. And so I love to support them. A drink loaded tea. So I really try and stray away from gas station drinks. However, I am a Mountain Dew girl. Just it's gotten significantly less Mountain Dew on game days because I think
Right.
Coach Cat would yell at me. But I have hid Mountain Dew in a Gatorade bottle before. She knows
Daughter
about
coach.
it. She knows about it.
Annalise, do you want to give that place a quick shout out because I don't remember the name of it, but I do remember trying it. I want to say it was maybe like the Superman or I don't know something
Yeah.
something like that. But what's the name of it? I've seen it on your social media before, but the name
Yeah,
didn't escape me.
Northside Nutrition is a
So
nutrition club here in Lawrenceville. And so they have supported us. They've supported me as a player, and I send them as many people as I can. I've actually sent them a couple of teammates that now are employees of Northside Nutrition. So
Nice.
they're awesome.
Coach, how about you?
Yeah, I gotta be honest, with little kids, I avoid going. I have an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old. So if I go in the gas station and I get something, I end up spending $30.
Hmm.
But we did recently stop on our way up to Cumberland and I found myself exceptionally hungry. So I'll be honest, I'm really boring. I got like the protein drink and like a protein loaded snack tray because I didn't want all the junk. So kind of a boring
Hey,
gas station girl.
you got to hit your
So
daily
boring.
protein.
Yeah, it's 120. I
Yeah.
gotta get those
Yeah.
macros.
Yeah.
I
So
will say
protein.
at Buc-ee's, I get the sour strips. I can't pass Buc-ee's without the sour strips, and then they tear up my cheeks.
just stopped by. Had a wedding in South Carolina. We stopped on the way back and tried beaver nuggets for
Hmm.
the first time, and they were they were good. But I was like, I'm eating pure air and sugar right now. I don't know if I need to keep downing these, but again, Coach Annalise, thank you so much for your time, Coach. If you've got any or Annalise, if y'all have any closing thoughts just on the season, how it's been going so far, and what you're looking forward to the end of the year, Mike's all y'all's.
I am just so proud of what this team is. And we have such a good core group of seniors. We have 10 seniors. And so we have really just, and especially the 4 year seniors, and I've been here for 3 years, but they have really just paved the way. And you can see freshmen following in footsteps of seniors, and it's genuinely just such a beautiful thing to see that there's little things that seniors do that all of a sudden our freshman catchers started to do, and there's little, just the way that they walk, the way that they talk, and so it's really good just to see the path that the Grizzlies are on, even after graduation, after this group graduates. I mean, the core of the team will never change. And Coach Cat set amazing standards. And I know that our younger girls will step up. We have a group of juniors that will be seniors next year that, again, just will lead this team in a way that us seniors can only dream that this program will go. So I'm proud of this team.
And Coach Cat?
Yeah, hard to follow that up. She's a great
Yeah,
coach.
right? Yeah.
I just think the biggest thing is going to be the excitement that will come from playing still a lot of new teams. We have Westcliff and Hope on the schedule, and this squad has never played Hope. I've certainly enjoyed playing them in 2019, but we have a lot of new teams still to play, and that's one of the most fun things about, I think, the NAIA is the opportunity to play unique teams from across the country. So hopefully those are good games to come, and hopefully we have a long May.
Absolutely. Want to be playing till about the 28th or maybe 29th of May. That is absolutely the goal. But Coach Annalise, thank you again so much. And now, everybody, we're going to kick it back over to Carly and I to finish up with our weekend preview. All right, Carly, let's briefly go through some of the big time matchups this week. Give us a two that we're going to be watching today. I'll get this guy ready for his big matchup in the Crossroads.
Yeah, starting off with down in the South, Mobile will take on Middle Georgia State at 3 and 5 Eastern time. And then Bellevue and Dickinson State will play at 4 and 6 Central. And then moving on to Friday, I'll take you through some games until we get to Marsh's, I almost called it Marsh Madness. Um, Marsh's pick of the week. Kaiser is taking on Coastal Georgia. Coastal Georgia's on a real hot run right now. They play at 1 and 3 Eastern time. Houston Victoria is taking on LSUA, kicking off a 3-game series at 2 o'clock Central Time. Bellevue and Dickinson State will play two more at 12 and 2. And then what everyone's waiting for, Mr. Marsh and his pick of the week.
All right, let's do it, dude. So it's a big one. It's one we were supposed to have a couple weekends ago. A little bit of
Mm-hmm.
rain has been a big theme in NAIA softball, but let's do it, man. We got the Marian Knights in the right hand. We got Indiana Wesleyan in the left hand. Marsh, who's gonna win this Crossroads matchup? He's been picking a lot of cat teams. He has been picking a
Yeah,
lot of cat teams.
he's got a theme.
He has got a theme. So he's rocking with, and then we actually have another one. So this is Gracie. This is parents' dog, and they're down
Guest
visiting too.
appearance.
So here you go, Miss Gracie. You can have one too. There you go. Good girl. Marsha's like, what the heck? She doesn't make picks, dude. Yeah. All right, Carly, who we got on Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday, not as much of a slate, but Kaiser is taking on Coastal Georgia, wrapping up their 3-game series. They'll play at 12 Eastern. USAO is playing their second doubleheader of their 4-game series. They're playing MAC U. They'll play at 1 and 3 Central Time. And then wrapping up with some Cascade play, we got Carroll and British Columbia playing at 11 and 1 in Pacific Time.
Yeah, wrap up Sunday with Texarkana taking on Houston Victoria. Carly, I don't know. We may have missed. I don't remember. Did we talk about College of Idaho and British Columbia last episode?
I thought we did.
Okay, maybe we didn't. I just missed it. Okay. But yeah, well, that will wrap it up. Phenomenal. There go the dogs barking. Phenomenal interview there with Annalise and Coach Cat. Great episode. And again, apologies there for a little beginning, a little, things happen, but reach out to you people. You never know how much that can mean to them and the difference it can make. So reach out to somebody you ain't talked to in 6 months, year, whatever, family member or friend. former teammate, whatever. And yeah, y'all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend watching some great NAI softball.